Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Devette, the Christian numerologist and relationship coach. And as a spiritual leader, I have just really been inspired in interviewing just some really amazing people out there that are making a difference in the world. They have different perspectives, different gifts and talents that I think bringing to the table are really just going to benefit the public and people that are watching my videos. So I'm super excited. I've had this conversation a little bit before this, and you are going to be blown away. Today, we're going to be talking to Kieran. He is a menopause consultant or coach, and he helps you really get through the process of all that, emotional and physical and all the things that come with just the natural aging that we go through as women. So you are in Belfast, Northern Ireland. And so I'm so excited that you're joining me today, and I cannot wait to dive into this. There's just so many of my friends and just, people that I know that are going through this. So they're going to be so stoked to hear from you. So Kieran, if you want to tell us a little bit about you and more of what you do, what got you started, and all that good stuff.
Hi, Devat. Thank you for such a fantastic introduction. I hope I live up to the expectations you've now set for people. Hi, folks. My name is Kieran, I'm the menopause coach. I got into therapies way back in '99, particularly. I'd been studying a few therapies before that, but the key one that helped me make the transition was kinesiology, which is a form of muscle testing. And I discovered it through need, not through desire. On
Okay.
the 6th of January, 1999, I managed to put out 5 vertebrae in one go.
Ouch.
Yeah, I think I said something like that as well. And I actually bent over and couldn't get up. I literally couldn't get up. So I put out 1 cervical vertebrae, 2 thoracic and 2 lumbar. And I can remember that day so clearly. I should also say at that time I was about 240 pounds.
Okay.
And I had about a 46, 48-inch stomach. So I went to an osteopath who did some good, but I needed more. And that was on the 6th of January. On St. Patrick's weekend in March, I went to a health fair in Dublin. My sort of spiritual mentor, a lady called Grace, said, go to this show, there'll be something there for you. And I did it totally on trust, totally on faith. And about 10 minutes after I arrived, there was a talk on kinesiology. And I'd heard about it, but nobody could actually describe it to me. And I went to the talk and it was like, oh my goodness, this is so good. And after that, I had a mini treatment, which reduced the pain by about 40%.
Oh,
So as you
wow.
can imagine, that really got my attention. This was like, wow, how did that happen? I'm moving around. Where did the pain go? Can't find it. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, what's happening? That was March. A course in kinesiology was starting. And I'd previously been studying, my first love was aromatherapy. I was then back doing reflexology and advanced body massage with shiatsu. And so at this stage, when I enrolled in the course in April, I was now doing 3 courses at the same time. So I didn't mind that. It was great. It was a great learning curve. I'm very bad at timelines. I say that quite openly to people. So I know that that was St. Patrick's weekend in Dublin. The course included a residential week training in August. By August, I had food sensitivity testing. I had cut out a small number of foods, wasn't a lot, but it made a big difference. So by that time, I probably lost about 25+% of my body weight.
Oh, wow.
And by soon after that, my total weight loss was around 33%, which is actually higher than some of the programs you have in the States called The Biggest Loser.
Right.
I
Yeah.
lost more than them. I did not go to the gym. I did not work out. I ate. I was not on a diet, and I enjoyed my food. I still do, and I did then. I simply changed the food I was taking to food that were suitable for me, that weren't working against me. Brain fog was helped, energy was helped, so many things. So the reason I'm mentioning this is weight gain can be a big psychological, emotional factor for many ladies going through the menopause. I know I've been there, not through menopause, obviously, but there are things that can be done to help with weight management to sort of get a target weight and work back to that. So the reason I've always been interested in ladies' health is on the basis of who cares for the carer. The mother is the carer typically,
Right.
and who cares for her? Now, I remember one student I
Good
was,
question.
yeah, I think so. Um, this mother, young mother, we were chatting about things in class, and I said, "Okay, where are you in the pecking order in the home?" And she said, "Last." And I said, "Okay, curiosity." And I'd seen her figuring this out, thinking about it. So I asked her, who's first? Her child. Okay.
Right.
Who comes next? Her dog.
Heard of.
Who
Uh-huh.
comes next? Her husband. And where are
Okay.
you in all this? Oh, I'm way down. So of course I was curious, and I like good fun. I like to make my classes and stuff as much fun as possible. I said, okay, I have to know, why is the dog second? I get your child is first.
Right.
Why is the dog second? The dog can't open a tin to feed himself. My husband can.
There you go. Boom, boom. That's perfect. And it's true.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was a student way back, I've been doing kinesiology for 22 years, and I've been doing therapies for 25 years. I remember a lady came to us, and we did mini treatments on people. And I said, okay, what are the biggest problems facing you? And she said, breast pain. Okay. We had just done a technique that helped relieve breast congestion, breast pain, breast tenderness, whatever you like to call it.
Mhm.
And so I explained that to her. I did tell her I was a student,
Mhm.
and I said, look, if you're happy enough, we can do this. I do not touch you in that area. You contact yourself.
Mhm.
So she explained that she had had this breast pain for about 8 years since her last child was born.
Oh,
And
wow. Mhm.
it was cyclical breast pain. It would build up, it would get very heavy and tender over at the side. So we did the technique, and oh my goodness, she was nearly hugging and kissing me when she got
Oh,
it
yeah.
out. The pain just disappeared, which is something
Mhm.
I've found with this technique. And again, the reason I'm saying this is that during perimenopause or even the menstrual cycle, breast pain can play a big role in
Mhm.
what a lady has to go through. And my
Yeah.
point is, there are natural ways to help resolve these things. So I've actually written a book on in the Apple
Okay.
Store about how to resolve breast pain with acupressure points. It's
Oh,
so
wow.
incredibly easy. It's things you can do yourself, and you're guided through the whole thing. So
Okay.
a lot of my career in holistic therapies has been geared towards helping women who tend to look after everybody else. They'll bring me their children, they'll send me their husband,
Mhm.
and then eventually they'll come to see me. So this is something that really helps. I'm also an instructor in this course, and I teach people how to do muscle testing, kinesiology
Okay.
for themselves.
Mhm.
So in the way we're trained is to do the muscle testing, that's the primary thing. Then we're trained in different aspects of things of how to strengthen the body. We might use nutrition. We
Mhm.
might use something with a fantastic name of neurolymphatics, which help increase the lymph flow to the organ and
Right.
to the muscles. We have another thing called neurovascular, which increases the blood flow. We will
Okay.
use meridian therapy. We will use acupressure points. We will use a whole range of things
Right.
to test and find what is best suited to each person at an individual level. So in the program that I offer, it is a personalized individual plan. Each lady has her own set of needs, set of goals or desires that she wants to achieve.
Right.
I work with those goals, and the plan for yourself would be different from your friend. You're,
Right.
there's over 60 things linked to menopause, and when you consider that, the permutations in that is colossal. I'm not a mathematician, but huge
Yeah.
number of permutations.
Yeah, there's so much to it. And I love how you mentioned all the testing that you do, because it kind of is that complicated in a sense for a woman to really understand all the different things that are happening all at the same time. And it's not just a one quick fix. So to know that there are so many different tests to really tweak it to fit what a woman is going through. Some have symptoms that others don't have, and some are more severe, some are less. Some I've never heard of that you had mentioned. So to go through that process and really be able to pinpoint exactly what a woman is going through, what they need, and how to fix it, I think is so powerful. So much more than just, Googling these symptoms, but to be able, there's so much to it.
There is, and we would use a lot of techniques to identify and pinpoint the key factors, even down to the nutrition that the lady may need. Um, Maybe this is a moment that I can share a little sort of infographic that I send out to people, and if any of your viewers want to see it, I'm happy to do it.
Absolutely.
Can I share the screen, please?
Let's see, did I do,
Yeah.
yeah, you have it there.
Okay, here we go. So, this is an infographic I send out, 7 peri or menopause problems many healthcare professionals don't mention. And part of the reason is they're used to dealing with the key ones, the main ones. So this infographic is available for you if you'd like. And as I just go down, so this is my key thing, that's my logo, a natural approach to peri and menopause. And there's the website. So one of the things that a lot of ladies develop is a hypersensitivity. And I'm only going to skim through this. I'm not going to go through it in great detail.
Okay.
But the reason for mentioning this is there are so many different things that each person will experience at different intensity levels, different frequencies. Some might have 3 months before something happens, some might have 2 or more. So
Okay.
hypersensitivity is certainly one of them. And foods that you previously loved don't love you anymore. That's the way thought here in
Good way to
Ireland.
put it. Yeah.
And can actually increase things like fatigue, headaches, skin reactions, other unpleasant responses such as weight gain. So there's actually quite a bit involved in that. And again, you have a bespoke, personalized individual plan. Hair, skin, and nails. So many ladies tell me about changes in their hair and their skin. Now, they won't notice the nails so much. I don't know if you can still see me, but the nails are usually covered with false nails, so they don't notice that. But the hair
Right.
can become thin and brittle. They can actually lose hair, and skin can become thin, itchy, dry. Menopause acne is another thing. So any of these can cause a lot of stress to people. Many will try and use shampoo, but it's coming from within as the changes. So I would adhere to the philosophies of traditional Chinese medicine and work on the cause, and
Uh-huh.
therefore symptoms you will improve using natural things. Here's something now, little electric shocks or static shocks. Sometimes touching something metal, you'll get this little shock. I had one lady who basically told me that in the mornings she got her son to touch the car before she would, but even then at times when she was getting into the car, she would still get a little electric shock, which sort of amused her
Interesting.
family, but did not amuse her.
And that just started with menopause. So that's just
Yes,
something that gets developed. Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
This again, some of these are rare, some of them are uncommon, but they do
Mhm.
happen.
Yeah.
And again, by addressing the cause, we can address the symptoms. One that does affect a lot of ladies is insomnia. This
Mhm.
seems to be a big thing for ladies going through perimenopause and menopause. Now, it can affect people of any age, and there certainly seems to be an increase in insomnia for menopausal and perimenopausal women. I
Uh-huh.
combine the use of the word. Here's one: a burning or hot mouth. Can you imagine having a burning or hot mouth and you're drinking water, you're drinking fluids, and it just won't go away?
Hmm.
So this one is linked to a reduction in the levels of saliva because of reduced estrogen levels.
Okay.
And again, no amount of drinking water is going to take this away. It's really going to be a case of dealing with the cause, which is much further back, but can be dealt with naturally.
Yeah.
Also, you can get a metallic taste. So it's unpleasant. It spoils the enjoyment of food and socializing and partying. It's just like, oh no, I don't. It's like no fun. And here's
Yeah.
7. Number 7 is change in body odor. And again, this is linked to changes in terms of the estrogen levels.
Okay.
So by addressing that change in estrogen levels, then it's going to help reduce that. So it kind of occur for a couple of reasons. The first is increasing the body temperature. You know, I haven't touched on hot flashes here because people experience that or night sweats. So that can be
Mhm.
one thing. And the second is in response to the hormonal changes happening in the body. So the effect of this can be a prolonged effect on body odor. So it can. So I'm going to stop sharing if that's okay.
Mhm.
Um, so again, we're happy to, if anybody's interested, I can forward that through the vet or myself, contact me directly. I'll be happy to do that. So you're mentioning about the testing. So in kinesiology, many of your viewers may have heard of kinesiology, and over here now, it's probably most commonly or best known for food sensitivity testing.
Okay.
My emphasis is on finding the foods that are suitable for you. So say, for instance, I find a particular type of food you're sensitive to. Rather than have you wondering what can you replace it with, I work on the basis of finding food suitabilities. Food suitability testing is what I call it. So the emphasis is on the positive, to find the foods that are going to be good for you. Then you know that instead of sort of taking wheat out of the equation, you know what grain to go to. So bread can be
Okay.
being at a that source, and that makes a big difference. So it does.
Yeah.
When it actually comes to the menopause, we would use a test kit like this and just set it aside so
Okay.
you can see it. So this is a hormone test kit. We can test these things. And over here in this section beside my hand, you can see the different types of estrogen and hormones like that. There's also
Okay.
follicle stimulating hormone and lutein stimulating hormone. And over here is the progesterone. So I would test those to see, in kinesiology, we can see if there's an imbalance in the body and the mind, and then do things to address it using the variety of things that I mentioned earlier. Nutrition maybe being one in this case to sort of energize the body. Quite separate from the changes in menopause. As we get older, our ability to absorb goodness from food declines. So we're faced with that
Okay.
as well. So it's a combination of changes within the hormonal system, which can affect our digestive system. Plus,
Right.
as we age, our ability to produce the digestive enzymes and juices that are needed for it can very quickly reduce. So they can. So that's another factor. So part
Yeah.
of the program would be to find what is happening within, and then what is going to assist. I talk about resolving and helping, and words like that, pardon me, so that we can work naturally with the body.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, like I say, may be meridian therapy.
Right.
So when one, I teach this therapy, I'm an instructor. So it's natural in me to want to share information with people for self-help. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
key part of it. And so all the things that I've selected are safe, easy to do, easy to follow. You don't need to go and do a course in nutrition to understand it, or a course in acupressure or acupuncture. So what I thought, if it's okay with you, a lot of ladies, I mentioned hot flashes. A
Yeah,
lot of
that's a
ladies,
big one. You hear a lot of, yeah, I think hot flashes are, I mean, even just kind of sitting in church or something, you'll see women, coming out with their fans and they're just like, or the bulletin, and they're just like, yeah, trying to cool down, and then they're fine. And then a while later, they're like, oh, I'm dying again.
yeah.
That's a big one.
Can I share something slightly evil?
Yeah.
Okay. In the sense, and a nice evil, an observation of people. Before COVID, I used to travel a lot in Europe. I love traveling. And when it comes to being called to your aircraft, I would sit and people would queue up eager to get on the plane, but we're all going to get on the plane. So what's the point? And you'd see these ladies standing
Yeah.
doing this. And I would be saying to myself, that's a lady who's going through a hot flash.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so easy to do when you actually see how easy this is to do. So that wasn't purely evil. Sure, it wasn't. I was just thinking, okay. And in a long queue, depending on age and other factors, it's interesting to see how many ladies are actually experiencing things.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads me into a point that a lot of ladies believe there's nothing can be done, but there's a lot can be done. And
Right.
it's tapping into useful resources, which I have researched and conducted all the research and even tested on clients to see how effective it is. So one person might need what I'm going to show you in a minute. Another person might need to work on acupressure points. So when I'm working with a lady, that's what we do. We tailor it to your individual needs.
Right.
It's not a case of, oh, here you are. If it
Yeah.
doesn't work, I'm sorry, don't know what to
Yeah.
do. We actually work through and show things.
So it's not a one size fits all. You basically figure out specifically not only what their symptoms are, but what they need in order to heal or to subside the symptoms
Yeah,
as best as possible. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So by finding what's happening, it's very interactive. Initially, we'll have a call, and the lady will get a list of all 60 plus symptoms, and we'll go through, and I'll ask her to assess on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being awfully bad, and then we'll focus in. And it can be surprising because things like the metallic taste that people don't associate with menopause or perimenopause will come up. So it also gives me a barometer in which to review at month 3. Okay, so your hot flashes were a 9 out of 10 and their frequency was a 9 out of 10. So let's go back and look at that, and
Yeah.
it's dropped down on both frequency and intensity. So it's actually a very good way to chart what is needed, and then how progress is happening. So it's a very valuable
Gotcha.
to do
Yeah.
that.
And I mean, even just 60 symptoms, that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot associated with that. I mean, you typically hear of like 3 to 5, I mean, the hot flashes, the weight gain, you hear of those typical things, but to think that there are 60, that's amazing that you test for. And so, yeah, I mean, hot flashes are probably at the top of the list there of what women
Yeah.
suffer with a lot.
If you like, I can share the screen again, if that's okay.
Okay, absolutely.
And show you the full list. It is quite amazing. So here we have, these are all the symptoms. This has been recently updated, and some symptoms will affect more in perimenopause, and then some will continue into menopause. And that's one of the things people think of when they've reached menopause. It's all behind me. I can close the door and that I can get on with my life. But because the hormones are at such a reduced state, that's not always the case. So this is what I have found to be the 7 most frequent signs. As you say, the hot flashes, night sweats, skin conditions, weight gain, fatigue, emotions can be like a roller coaster, and then irregular periods, which can also alternate between being heavy or scanty. Now, this is something I'm happy to send out to people as well. So before I look at the other symptoms, here is stuff I help with as well, based on feedback. And these are like the emotional factors. They're not, clinically speaking, medical. In my experience, they're just as important to be addressed as the medical things.
Yeah, I think these are huge. I mean, this is kind of, I think, the aspect that gets left out that are not usually addressed. I feel that a lot of women are dealing with the physical symptoms. And so that's what's being addressed, because that's like, it's physical, you could see it, it's measurable. But what's being ignored is what's happening on the, not just on the inside, but on the emotional side. I guess the self-esteem, the confidence. I mean, with weight gain, or the feeling angry or frustrated if you're not sleeping at night, or you're having these hot flashes, and it's even just scary thinking you're going through now a change in life. It's something that is for menopause is for old people, and then you're not quite old, but you're feeling yourself going through these changes and these experiences, and it definitely could affect your confidence, your self-esteem, probably leading to depression, anxiety, frustration. So I love that you address this.
All of these things will affect the emotional aspect of things. I'll drop in self-esteem, self-confidence, motivation. We would say over here in Ireland, I used to have motivation, but it got up and went. And self-worth, respect, self-value, these are things. And then because of things like weight gain, or feeling your skin is all blotchy and you can't cover it up with makeup, social withdrawal, which affects our social aspects of life, negative self-perception, no matter what people say to us. Look, you're looking fantastic. Yeah, okay, yeah, thank you.
Right.
But inside you're feeling no, which can lead to the negative self-talk. I also include self-anger here, and self-anger is as much the feeling of grief, regret for having an outburst at a family member or friend for seemingly very little or no reason. So then that reverts back into oneself, and then self-doubt, the things that you would have done with confidence are suddenly taken away, and those sort of things. So if I cruise on down here, this is what I like: live life, love life. I think menopause destroys that.
Yeah.
People no longer love life, and therefore they don't live life. So that's my little
That's
subline.
powerful. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, appreciate that. So for those who want the alphabetic list, we offer personalized advice and assistance for many of these. So you can see yourself. There's a lot of things. If I go down to the bottom, because unfortunately the column broke here. So you have a reduction in libido, but you can also have an increase in libido, just to make it almost like opposites, and I think that highlights it for what one person may be experiencing, another person will not be, it'll just be terribly
Right.
menopause migraines. They're identified as different from migraines, but they seem to increase from that. So I have migraines in here, I know as well, but there's the metallic taste, muscle loss, muscle tone reduction, tightness, collagen loss, which will affect skin. The thing that people don't realize is cold flashes. Cold flashes can follow a hot flash. It's as if the body is regulating itself. It went hyper hot and then goes hypo cold. There's one thing down here that is I find amazing, and it's pseudo PMT, phantom PMT. So during the perimenopause, the PMS, PMT feels worse. But pseudo PMT, PMS is when the lady is in full menopause, or even at later stages of perimenopause, actually, they get all the signs of PMT, cramping, the discomfort, the heaviness. All those things still occur as if there's a shadow of the cycle still left, but there's no flow. That's what the difference. And then it mimics as if there was other than the flow, and then feels better. So there's lots of things that can be affected. They talk about irritabilities, as I've put in here, not in a humorous way, but levels can go up of irritability fast and furious. And it's like, I'll just add that in.
No, I think that's an accurate description.
Yeah, and it's based on feedback, and it's like, wow. I'll give you for instance of a young girl, teenage girl. I'll stop sharing that for a moment. And I was treating the mother, and she thought she was sorted, so she stopped doing the things, thinking, okay, I'm done, right? And after a while, her teenage daughter said to her, "Mommy, are you stopping doing the things you're supposed to be doing? I don't need it anymore." Yes, you do.
She could tell, the daughter could tell.
Yeah. I think it was a bit more vocal. I think it was a bit more vocal than that, and a bit more sort of direct. Yeah, it was like, right. And then it was like, okay, these things are subtle, almost in some cases, almost undetectable until somebody else shares with us. Now, the irritability, yes, we see that, but it's the sort of slow change that we don't notice, imperceivable. And it's only when somebody actually takes the sort of kindness and says, no, you need to do that. Before I show you the hot flashes, the one thing I would mention is just in passing, there is like a male version of all this.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's called andropause. And while there isn't as much research into it as there is into perimenopause and menopause for ladies, and it certainly isn't spoke about enough, there are a number of different factors. And again, it's linked to the hormones. So for the lady, during a normal reproductive cycle, you have the changeover of hormones like this.
Okay.
Man doesn't have that range of change. And obviously his main hormone is testosterone. What happens to the lady in perimenopause is it does happen, but there's maybe fluxes and changes. And then when they go into menopause, full menopause, the primary hormones are very, very low. And that's why they may think the door is closed on it, but there's still not enough hormones for for, say, like nice collagen, nice bouncy skin, and the effects that it has, like I said, about the saliva and other things leading to the hot mouth.
Right.
Joints are affected, but they say, oh, I'm getting old, my joints are sore.
Yeah.
But it's actually connected in to menopause. So a lot of things that ladies could be experiencing, they could put it down to age or an injury, an old injury playing up, or, yeah, I remember that time I fell awkwardly on the shoulder. They put it down to that.
And you hear a lot of men saying that, so could that be a symptom?
Yeah.
For them?
Some,
And I definitely want to do another video about men and what they'd be experiencing, because we never really talk enough about menopause for women in itself, much less what men go through, as they're aging and their body's changing and their hormones are changing. And I think it's really important, because as women are going through it, they might not realize that their husband is actually going through something as well. So, you're dealing with a woman, okay, she's going through this menopause and she's trying whatever she can find at the local drugstore, off the counter, that's not working, and completely ignoring what the man is going through. So I want to thank you for mentioning that. And I definitely want to, at a later date, talk a little bit more about that. I think that if we kind of bring it to the surface and just kind of get it known that, we can help a lot of men through what they're going through, because men don't talk about their feelings. They don't talk about these kinds of things. And, it's important. Their lives matter, and their feelings and their emotions. And it's important that we're all healthy as a unit, as a family, as a community, right? And addressing those things. So yeah, so I look forward to doing another one, at a later date about that. But thank you for mentioning that.
Absolutely. Men don't talk about their health and wellness at all, certainly not in Ireland. Ladies will maybe chat with other ladies about things happening to them, and ladies are more likely to go to their physician to get care for. Men don't. The time frame between something starting and needing to go to the physician is much longer for men. And I think that if the lady's going through menopause, there's certain communication difficulties, like I said, in terms of the emotions can build up. And if she's looking to her partner for support and he's going through his own stuff but hasn't actually voiced his concerns about what's happening in his own body, they're not going to be able to communicate. I can envisage circumstances or situations where, the lady's saying something to him and he's not able to cope with that because he's not able to cope with his own. So yeah, I'd be happy to do that. That would be great. I think it could help so many couples in terms of communication and understanding the changes in each other's body, so as to understand how to progress and work through that. Yeah. Okay.
Right. I think that would be powerful.
Okay. Cool. We can do that. So I was going to show how to help with hot flashes.
Awesome.
I have a little video on the website on my own YouTube channel that will cover this in more detail, but simply to show you for a moment or two, if you're happy with that.
Sure.
So meridian therapy, 24 hours in a day, 12 meridians. So each meridian has like a peak activity time. Don't be thinking that this is good or bad. It's a peak activity time. Okay. So what happens in terms of traditional Chinese medicine? We know about yin and yang. Well, out of those 12s, there's 6 pairs. So the meridian related to the reproductive system in both men and women is partnered with a meridian called the triple warmer, sometimes known as triple heater, triple burner. There's so many names for it.
Okay.
And what the triple warmer does, it divides the body into 3 zones, approximately here above the nipple, from here down to about middle below the belly button, and from there down. So it controls and regulates the heat in that area. The reason I mention this, and its partner is the reproductive system meridian. So when it senses that the reproductive system meridian called the pericardium or CX is in distress, it does what it can to help. And because it's involved with providing heat, guess what happens?
Heats you up.
It gives heat. It gives heat. It gives heat, because that's what it does. That's what it's set up to do. So when I'm talking to ladies, especially for a hot flash or a night sweat, they will actually sweat down to about this line. Now, if you experience that, drop me a line and confirm that to me, please, because I would love to hear from people. Face and neck and center of the chest will go deep crimson red, and the and comes out. So what this does is, imagine in the yin and yang symbol, that's when the energies are equal and in balance, and it's dynamic, it's flowing all the time. So what this does is, if the energy in the circulation sacs or pericardium meridian has reduced, then the triple warmer meridian goes, oh, here, I'll help. And it throws more logs on the fire when the lady doesn't want more logs on the fire.
No more, yeah.
No, thank you, I'm fine, no more, thanks. So what I'll do is I'll show you how to brush or run that meridian. It's not like acupuncture. You don't need to be accurate as such. So let me just show you this little chart, if I can hold it here. So I need that hand too. So the actual meridian for the pericardium, as you can see here, starts just to the side of the male nipple. For the ladies, it's a bit higher than lateral, and it goes in a nice arc up over the shoulder, down through the center of the inner elbow, carries on down through the wrist, and finishes at the tip of the longest finger. So what I'm going to show you now, and there is a longer, more detailed video available, so I'm just trying to get it so you can see it, not too much shine. We're going to brush. Imagine your hand is like a brush. We're going to brush that meridian down and finish on the tip of the longest finger. This is so easy. It's so helpful. I had one lady who's frequently her hot flashes would start about 7 p.m. and she would literally break out into a sweat here in the center of the breastbone. And she would do this, and as if by magic, it would be reduced. Remember, this is a natural process. By sharing this with you, it means that if you feel the early stages of a hot flash happening, you can do this for yourself. It is a natural process. As the body goes through these daily changes, weekly changes, monthly changes, and so on, if you have this as a skill, then you can apply it to yourself. And that is my ethos: show and share, and then you can help yourself.
Oh, that's powerful. Yeah, I love that. I can't wait to see what that is. I think a lot of women are going to be excited to know how to do this.
I hope so. So again, this is one aspect of the program I offer. This will work, and ladies, if they're having very severe ones, might need to do specific acupressure points, and I would take them through that if need be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the chair out of the way. The dog will probably get upset. He's been very quiet. He's been very good. So you'll probably hear him.
He's been good. We haven't heard him.
Yeah, he's been very good. So I'm going to stand up here, and okay, I'll crouch down. So here's the nipple. For the male, it would be level with here, and this will also help the male because it's not non-gender. So starting about here, level, I'm going to run it as if contacting down through the center of the elbow. I'm just bringing the hand up so you can see where it goes to, and I'm using 2 fingers in this case just for clarity, and I stop at the tip of the longest finger. If I was brushing that, I can do it out from the body, and then just bring the hand up and finish there. So you can run it skin contact down through the center of the inner elbow and finishing on the tip. this is something you can do as preventative. The ideal time to do this would say be in the shower, preferably with a natural sponge, or just use your hand and glide down. But because it's meridian energy, you don't actually need. And I think you can see me here and doing. So what I recommend is 3 to 6, depending on your severity, and then go over to the other side, come down and run and finish at the tip of the longest finger. I recommend you don't sweep on. That's like pushing the energy over. So coming up, down, center of elbow, and finishing at the tip.
So you're not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to touch the skin. It's just kind of like a brushing on top of it.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay.
It's sometimes called meridian brushing, but you don't actually need to contact the skin. So imagine your hand is like a brush. It can be like a 2-finger brush. It can be a broader brush. You don't need to be as accurate as an acupuncturist would be working on some of these points, because we're working on the meridian energy. So
okay,
as you go down, you're going to pick that up. There's 3 meridians finish on this side of the arm, and then there's another 3 come up on this side and finish on the face and neck.
Okay.
So sorry, face and cheek.
Okay.
So you don't, when I'm doing meridian brushing, now there may be a different name for it in the States, I don't know, but that's what we call it here. When I'm doing meridian brushing, I don't need to actually contact the person, so that's great.
Okay. Yeah.
I joke with my students, you know, it's not exactly the sort of thing I recommend you to do at a bus stop going to work in the mornings. You do
right.
all the buses here.
Yeah.
You know,
they'd be like, what is wrong with that person? Yeah.
You're sure of getting a seat because they'll all go, okay. Right?
Yeah, if you're
And
in like a business meeting and you start having a hot
yeah,
flash and you start going like
yeah,
that, they're going to be like, what in the world is going on?
yeah. And it can be preventative. And that's why I'm saying if you did it in the shower in the morning, it can help prevent.
Okay.
If you can catch, if you know the signs that each lady experiences, and it could be different for the onset of a hot flash, that's the time to do it. That is the time to do it before it gets into a raging volcano, let's say, you know, or a geyser type
Right.
thing, hot sweats. So if you know that you can set up a pattern of events that is saying, okay, I normally get a hot sweat. Frequently 7 p.m. is the time that that lady got hers.
Okay.
And they will traditionally last anything up to 2 hours if they occur at that time, because that's the peak activity time for that meridian.
Okay.
But during the day, they can occur as well. And so if you know the early stage signs, you can do this. So I would do 3 on one side, 3 on the other, and then go back, do 3 here, and keep close to the skin. Don't jump over the middle. Keep close to the skin, equal distance, so as if pick up that energy. And that is something that I have found very, very beneficial for ladies, so that, you know, again, self-awareness, self-education, self-taught, self-help, those are the principles that I go to. I have learned this through other people sharing information with me, and I just pass that on.
Mm-hmm.
If a lady is having a hot flash, and I can do this work remotely in terms of testing and that, I ain't going to be there with her. So I take the view of sharing the crock of gold so that she can help herself, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was going to ask you, I mean, being that I mean, you do this remotely, so the testing and the coaching and your program can all be taken remotely, being that you're in Ireland. So as much as I think all of us would love to go to Ireland.
You're very welcome.
Right. Yeah, that would be amazing. But you basically would do this like on a Zoom call, and you would take them through a series of questions and um, get an idea of where their hormonal balances are, what their diet looks like, what their symptoms are,
All those
and
things.
do all those testing, even the muscle testing you do remotely, right?
Correct.
You just have them test various things. Um, and then from there, so when you take somebody through the process of the symptoms and all the things going on, and then you you evaluate that and then create a
Yeah.
plan for them, and then you just take them through a process, 3 month, 6 month process, or how does that work?
Um, the testing can be done remotely based on a hair sample. We all know that the
Okay.
DNA is in the root of the hair. Now, there's some difficulties with that in terms of postal service. They don't like that. I can actually work off a digital photograph. So the way that you're addressed, it would be the full person, but I have guide notes to send people how to do that.
Okay.
Then the actual testing is based on that person. I would use the kits, as I say. There's other kits as well that I would use depending on the circumstances the lady describes. It starts off with the assessment using that long sheet. So they would go through and identify for me the areas that they're experiencing difficulties in, score it on a 1 to 10, 10 being horrendously bad. So that at least gives us a focus point. It focuses our mind to see what is happening. Then in the actual program, the program is a 6-month program. And the reason for that is menopause, perimenopause happens over a long period of time. A lot of ladies don't realize, and a lot of people don't realize, that some of the research says, and it depends on which research you read, scientific research, the menopause can last anything between 4.7 years and 11.1. Now,
That's a
that's
lot.
more,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah. Why do you want to have 4.5 years of horror and misery? Why would you want to endure it for 11 years? So because this is a lengthy process of stepping into menopause, let's say, I provide a 6-month course. Most people don't need as such the 6 months to resolve it. So what we do then is we focus on the other things in the remaining months of it. So it's not just to clear down the actual peri and menopause problems, but some of the other things that are happening as well. They can take a little bit longer, but again, it depends on the lady. I also, pardon me, I also, during the program, we will have regular check-ins. And so, we'll be chatting one-to-one as we are here, be asking you how you're doing. Say, for instance, somebody says, okay, I'm using an acupressure point, large intestine 4, which is here. So I know that that's large intestine 4 and how to use it. But if the lady is, say, pressing here, it's not going to have the result as pressing here. So part of it is not only the teaching and sharing, but also a check-in to say, okay, how you getting on with working that point? Is it working for you? Okay. There's a number of variables that we can use. Say, for instance, there's various points we can use for hot flashes as well. This point, by the way, has a couple of different things. I have a little video about how to use this and what to use it for. One of the uses is headaches. So a lot of ladies get headaches and migraines. So again, it's useful. One word of caution, it should not be used if the person is on medication or in the early stages or any stages of pregnancy. Now, I know the menopausal ladies may not be pregnant, but they might share it with their daughter, who might, or their family friend, whatever. So it's very well used. It has a couple of different names, but one of the things about it is there's a chemical in the body. You ready for the science part? sodium oxide dimethylate,
Ah, okay.
SOD for short.
Okay.
SOD is the most powerful antioxidant produced in the body. So
Okay.
people want to stay younger, fresher, looking for longer. That's probably got a lot of people paying attention now.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
And so by stimulating this point, you are eliminating the headaches. Bear in mind, no medication or any suspicion you might be pregnant, but you're also stimulating the production of SOD, which is a antioxidant. So it's going to, in terms of sort of beauty, acupressure for beauty therapy type thing, this would be one of the points you use. There's also points here and other points on the body. So again, many of these points have multiple uses. And again, it'd be sharing that with people with that precaution.
Awesome.
It's one of the few points on the body that has that contraindication in terms of that. So I would do this every day. This is part of my morning routine to work this point.
And is it it's
I've done
like
a
the
video for it,
sun?
so you'll be able to see that on the YouTube. So
Okay.
here's the bone, very briefly. Here's the bone going across one of the
Right.
metatarsals.
Okay.
If you start here, and remember, you're going to be looking at it like this. Okay, so I nearly need to do it like this for you.
Okay.
Okay, so this is your view.
Yeah.
So if you press in here, 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 go here, when you get to about here, you'll feel a little dip.
Yeah.
It can be
Okay.
quite tender, quite sharp. It will be tender. So
Yeah.
this is where you're
That's
looking
the
at.
spot. Okay.
And when you compress it, it's a deep pressure. So what I do is I find the point, I slip my fingers under the other side of the hand, and I draw them together and give it a little rub. Deep.
Oh, gotcha.
See,
Okay.
you can see I'm pressing with quite a bit of pressure.
Yeah.
It may be tender, and if you have a headache, it will almost certainly be tender, and the tendency is to stop. Whereas in actual fact, it's called an active point. In other words, it's calling out for help, and its way of telling you that it needs help is through tenderness, even pain, discomfort, whatever word. So if it is sore and tender, do that for say 15, 20 seconds. Go over to the other side, find the point again. So work along, and you'll find that it is really is quite a dip, isn't it? You can notice it.
Yeah. Okay.
Bring the fingers to the other side of the hand. This looks awkward because I'm doing it wrong way round for you so that you can
Right.
see.
Yeah.
Then
Gotcha.
give that a rub. You may find one side is more tender than the other,
Okay.
one side of the hand.
Yeah.
Give it a rub for 10, 15 seconds. Go back to the first one. And what you normally find is on the first massage, it can be quite tender. On the second one, it's less tender. And then when you swap back and forth. So again, if you know the signs of an onset of headache or migraine, this is something that can help you. Obviously easier to do it at the beginning of a headache rather than the middle of the storm.
Yeah. Okay.
One thing I would say is, say you're in a meeting or location at dinner with people and you sort of feel the headache. There's no reason why once you get to find this point,
Yeah.
I'm doing it below table.
Yeah. You could be very
And
discreet with it and it
correct.
be noticeable, really.
So I'm massaging away, but out of camera,
Yeah.
as if below the table. So if you're sitting in your car and you feel a headache coming on, you've had a headache, you've had a horrible day at work or in the community, whatever you do, sit in the car for a moment, give it that. So it sort of depends on the severity and frequency.
Okay.
So this can also be preventative. So if you feel it coming on, give it. So I do this as well as other things to look after myself in a daily routine, based on I don't do the aromatherapy as such, but I I certainly do reflexology points on myself, and I do
Okay.
acupressure points on myself. And I think that certainly helps, both as a preventative, and if I should happen to get something happen to me, can I say to you, and I'm not suggesting this for everybody, over here we just call them a doctor, they're not a physician, as you would say in the States. My doctor knows what I do, and we have an arrangement. I go to him if I need a diagnosis, which I normally don't. He writes a prescription, I tear it up and I do my stuff.
Yeah.
So I actually made a bet with him one time. I'd lived abroad for 10 years and came back and said, you haven't done anything on me for years. How about a full test of everything you can imagine? And he was really rather disappointed. The only thing he could find was a slightly elevated cholesterol level and a slightly low function of thyroid. So I made a bet with him, give me 3 months and I'll reverse them. So I went back. I hope you don't mind me sharing a personal story, but that's what
No, yeah.
natural health care is about.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back and we had the blood tests, and he's typing in, oh, that can't be right, exit. And I went, I know what's happened here. Typed in my details again, came up on screen. Can I see? So I'm juking around the corner to see. The LDL was here and the HDL was originally down here. In 3 months between blood tests, I'd reversed them.
Wow. Wow.
And it's using
Impressive.
simple nutrient. So
yeah.
He was suddenly very interested in how I did this. And when I told him I was using nutrition, he just lost interest, because you can't make a medication out of something that occurs naturally. Right. So, like I said, I'm sharing this in a sense of humor, but I very, very seldom see my doctor. It's very much a case of
I love that. I love that. So many people just rush to the doctor. They get medication for something that could be an easy fix. It could be, a diet moderation, or it could be something like you're, sharing with the acupuncture or acupressure points, or something simple. I mean, thinking about our grandmas and grandmas, this is what they were using to get better. And, you didn't see all these sicknesses before, like diabetes and all these cancers. And it's new now that we've been eating these genetically modified foods and on medication, and all these products we're putting on, and not getting enough sun. They're telling us to hide from the sun, and we're not using what God gave us to heal us. So, that's powerful. Yeah, that's powerful that you can turn it around with that, without the medication, or without, a doctor. Not to say anybody shouldn't go to the doctor when they're having, right, any type of ailment or sickness or anything like that. That, they should go get checked. And there are ways to cure things that are outside of medication and stuff, and so it's worth it to kind of try different things and see what works. So and that's good that you promote that.
I would also include in the list the amount of times food in the field is now sprayed with herbicides, pesticides, and other things, as well as toxins. So I would be doing a fair bit of work with people in terms of toxin relief and how to detox in a safe way that doesn't actually introduce headaches. A lot of people say, oh, if you're going to detox, having headaches is a natural part of it. I wouldn't agree with that. There are ways to more gently detox. It doesn't initiate that response, and in a safer way.
Awesome.
The majority of what the liver deals with is 95% internal combustion. Only about 5%, well, that's probably increased, that's old research now, only so much of it is external. It's when it can't cope with the internal combustion that the external ones really have such a big disastrous effect. Now, I'm sure there's new research out there on that, but there are ways and means to help support the liver and the kidneys through being able to detox the body in a natural way rather than sort of big hit.
Yeah.
You know, like I say,
Okay.
I had a lot of pro-inflammatory factors when I'd reached 17 stone or
Yeah.
240 pounds. And so even modifications in the diet to avoid those pro-inflammatory factors can help with weight loss. So it's not
Okay.
all about calorie counting.
Sure.
Honestly, the last
Yeah.
thing I did was count the calories on my
Yeah.
plate. I ate, oh my goodness, did I eat? But I ate foods that were suitable for me and not pro-inflammatory factor foods.
Gotcha.
So I went
Awesome.
from 240 pounds in March to around 25 or so percent of my body weight off by August that year.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. That's impressive.
Thank
And
you.
you just doing it based on tweaking a couple of things in your own diet. And I mean, it shows, your expertise. You definitely know what you're talking about, all the tricks and the trades and what to do that I think would be absolutely beneficial for any woman who's experiencing these symptoms and men who are experiencing symptoms. You also work with men too? You work with
Yes.
both? Or
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So, anybody that's going through that, kind of your body's changing, right? Your body's just, it's adjusting to age, to, getting a
Yeah.
little older, to, all the good stuff that comes with that. The wisdom, on top of all that.
Yeah.
But so who's your ideal client? So someone out there that might be feeling some symptoms, do they need to be a little further along, or what
No.
is your ideal person that you work with?
Um, the first thing is somebody who wants to address it naturally.
Mhm. Okay.
And they may have been through various medical preparations and found it didn't agree with them or didn't work with them. That happens quite a lot. Or one lady who was quite early on in menopause, the doctor gave her antidepressants for 3 years,
Mhm.
and they didn't make any difference to any
Mhm.
great extent. She was just a bit happier, but the effects of menopause were still taking place, so it wasn't actually dealing with the menopause problem. The
Right.
primary one I would say is if you want to address this in a natural way, aligned with the body on a bespoke, personalized, individual plan, it does. It's a participation thing. I participate, the lady participates. It's a cooperative thing. It's I don't like educational because people maybe don't like that, or I don't want to learn things. But as I've shown you tonight, they're quite simple, straightforward. It's to know where and what to do. Do you know the old joke about the steam engine breaks down? An old Jack used to fix it all the time. So they bring Jack back and say, Jack, we need you to fix this station, this locomotion. It needs help. He says, yeah, but I'm going to charge you. I'm going to charge you because I'm no longer working with you. So he goes in and he looks around and he says, have you got a hammer? And he gets the hammer and just here he goes, whack.
Yeah.
He says, next thing the it starts up and it's able to go. I said, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. He says, how much do we owe you? Oh, $505. He says, $500 for hitting the tap? No, the tap was $5. Knowing where to tap with 25 years experience is the $500. Now,
Oh, I love that.
I'm not saying not to put it off, but if somebody needs this point, that's what they'll be shown. If somebody needs this, they'll be shown that. If they need other things, they'll be shown things that they need. It is not a one dress fits all. It really
Right.
is individually tailored to you. So there's no advantage in saying, do this, do this, do this, do this, a 10-point program, because a
Right.
10-point program really isn't going to cut it when you even consider there's 60 odd symptoms. And
Right.
that's what I mean by a preparation and willingness to take things on board, to spend a little bit of time to find this point, not up here. You will feel the dip and suddenly become aware of your own body more. And when a person does this, and depending on the severity of the headache goes within 5 minutes or so, you'll want to go, okay, I didn't have to take any over-the-counter medication. I can do this and work on this point. Once you've approached it and used it, it encourages people to use it again, you know. So that would be it. Somebody who's interested in their own health and wellness, mentally and physically, in a natural way, that, you know, can look at the videos that we do and say, okay, here's the point. And then with the regular check-ins, that's to say, how you doing? You finding the point okay? Is it working for you? Yes, no, okay. Maybe show me what you do. Okay. So if somebody does that, that is not enough pressure. It really needs to be deep and firm, slow massage.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm taking from 25 years broad experience in aromatherapy. So we might recommend essential oils. We might recommend a thing called Bach flower remedies, which are very good for the emotional state. I use them a lot. The points that I mentioned to increase the lymphatic flow, to increase the vascular flow. We look at it that the health of an organ or tissue is in direct correlation to the fluids flowing through it.
Okay.
So a person has a lymphatic system that's not getting much exercise, or the blood flow isn't circulating because of a sedentary type lifestyle, then this helps to improve that. So if more blood and fluids are running through an area, then that's going to cleanse the area. The blood is going to nourish and support it, and that usually results in better function and better overall wellness.
Awesome. I love that. So basically, anybody who wants results and they want it naturally, want to work with an expert. I always like to say how, money is always replenishable, but time isn't. And, if you're feeling these symptoms, it's clear you're not getting any younger, but you might as well, deal with the symptoms as best as possible to eliminate them and make it a smooth transition in life, so that you're enjoying your grandkids. You're, not, bumping heads with your husband or the people in your life, or, losing your temper and then feeling guilty. And then again, the self-esteem and the self-worth and being able to, still live a quality life. A lot of people going through this process, I feel they just like, it's almost like their world is over in a sense, because they are dealing with things that they don't know what's going on. And it's almost like, what's wrong with me? Why am I feeling this way? Why am, what's going on? Oh, and I'm going through menopause. My life is over. Life sucks. And it does not have to be that way. So you have the, 20 plus years experience, the personal experience. You've done these things that actually worked on you to help eliminate, the inflammation and the, vertebrae and the pain and the weight and all that stuff. You've, you've gone through the certification or through the courses or whatever you need. You've, worked with plenty of people to know that your system works. So it's just a matter of time, or a matter of just really somebody coming to you and saying, all right, bring me on. I want to get rid of this weight or these hot flashes, or, 59 of these 60 symptoms that they're experiencing. Right. So,
Absolutely.
Anybody that wants to get a hold of you, get more information, learn more, how do they reach you? Are you on social media, website? How
Okay.
do they get a hold of you?
Um, I have a website called www.themenopausecoach.com. That
Okay.
would be one of the primary ways. I'm also on Facebook for the same name, and I'm also on LinkedIn. So
Okay.
if people want to find me, they can find me a variety of ways.
Okay.
If they want to email me, it would be Kieran, spelled Kieran, at themenopausecoach.com, and I'll certainly respond. Have a look at the link to the video we're going to post as well, but we're going to post
Awesome.
these communication methods after the video. Let me know what's happening yet, and I will say to people, if I can help you, I will tell you I can help you. If I feel somebody else is better to help you, I would tell you. Or if I'm not in a position to help you, I will tell you that as well. So it's a very, very open system. In saying that, I've been able to help any lady that has approached me. And it's like, if somebody's suffering horrendous hot flashes during the day and then maybe getting night sweats at night, so they've a broken sleep, they wake up, the pillow is saturated, their hair is saturated down to here. You can, if they do have night sweats, this line is just above the nipple line, and you could actually put a towel below there and the towel will be dry. If you rub up here, the towel will be wet. The way we say
Wow.
towels in Northern Ireland is towel.
Yeah.
So below this line, I know I've been pulled up on this before.
Oh, and over
Below
here would
this
be towel.
towel, okay, I'll say towel. Below this line will be practically perfectly dry. Above here, different story. It's as if somebody
Wow.
dipped into a swimming pool or a sauna, a hot
Yeah.
jacuzzi type
Yeah.
thing. So the body works in these rhythms, and it's as much understanding the rhythm, and the rhythm can be on a day, or it can be through the change from normal menstrual cycle into early perimenopause, into perimenopause, and then into menopause. So understanding the rhythms of the body and working with them naturally to sort of bring them back into balance and alignment is the way I look at it. Something's over here, something's over there. We need to bring them back into alignment to get your life back into balance.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Ton of information. I mean, so much value that you've just, you've given. And I mean, even, with the meridian brushing and the pressure points that you showed. I mean, I think that is just so valuable. So I appreciate you sharing that with everybody. And if you want to hear more, if you want to learn more, if you're experiencing these symptoms and you're not really sure exactly what's going on, and you're relating to some of, on that list that you've shown that you're experiencing, you don't have to suffer with them. Life is precious, life is short. You might as well have a quality life and do what you can to minimize these symptoms. So I encourage you to get a hold of Kieran. I will post your links under this video, so anybody that's wanting to reach you via your website or email or social media, your links will be below here. You also mentioned a YouTube video that we'll go ahead and post under this video as well. And yeah, get a hold of Kieran. For yourself, women, ladies out there that are experiencing these just they're terrible. These are terrible symptoms, and it doesn't have to be this way. Pay attention to your husband as well. If he's going through some things, be curious about it, and maybe there's something, you guys are bumping heads a lot, and he's not expressing his emotions, and there's frustration. Sometimes it leads to divorce, or it leads to angry fights, and it's unnecessary. There is help out there. natural help. So, Kieran is definitely, the expert. You can do this remotely. You don't have to fly to Ireland, although if you want to, which would not be a bad idea. That would probably even next level cure some things that, that are needed. Yeah. So with that, Kieran, thank you very much. And is there any closing statements or any last words that you want to share before we end this?
The thing I realized I didn't mention is that the initial consultation of 20 minutes to half an hour for sort of assessment to find out what's happening is completely free.
Oh, cool.
You're
Okay.
not having to make any commitment. If they decide that the menopause coach program is for them, we go, great, we can start on, we can hop on to that. If they decide, no, I'm still not sure, whatever, that's fine. I will continue to share information through the Menopause Coach YouTube channel. And if people can pick up stuff there. The difference about going on the program is it's very much, think of it as a funnel. Here's the broad rim of the 60 plus conditions. And then we narrow it down and we focus on the key ones at the base of the funnel. And people can find information here and there, but it's knowing which one is going to be the best suited to you. And you're drawing from my 25 years experience as a holistic practitioner. So first session is free. You have nothing to lose. You can only win, win, win for yourself, for the family, for your friends, but mostly yourself would be the key thing that I would be thinking of. So I want to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share some useful ways to help resolve imbalances in the body. I hope the explanations and descriptions were okay, and I'm not saying it to confuse people nor to impress people. I don't do that.
Sure.
It's simply a way to show why the two meridians in partnership are out of balance, out of whack, out of synchronicity, whatever way you want to describe it,
right,
and how relatively easy it is to bring them back into sync. Certainly, by all means, thank you to Vet for inviting me on. And there's lots can be done. I've done the research and the practical testing of it on previous clients, so that you don't have to. And feel free even to drop me a line. Hey, I have something happen to me. Can you help with this? Can you help with that? I'll be happy to correspond with people. And, if I can do something to help people along the way, I'm happy to. People have helped me. People have helped my family. What I'm doing in that case is paying it forward.
I love that. That is so awesome. And I mean, yeah, I mean, there's nothing to lose. I mean, get on a call with Kieran and see if, if it's a match, if there's something that he can help you with. He's the guy. If like he said, it's something that maybe he can't, he's going to let you know. So he's not in it to, take your money. He's in it to help you. So you have nothing to lose. You have a free call. Get a hold of them. Get the quality back in life, and deal with these symptoms. They're not fun, and it's something everybody has to go through. So it shouldn't be something that we don't talk about anymore. Let's talk about it, and let's deal with it, and let's get back onto having a quality life for ourselves and for our family and for the community, being our best self. So thank you, Kieran, very much. I think we could have talked for hours. I look forward to talking more and again about like the male symptoms and what that looks like. And, hopefully we can get men talking about it a little more too, or a lot more, and having relief, in that as well. So thank you so much. So, everybody else, if, get a hold of Kieran, if you need to, reach out to me, I'll get you connected. But with that, we'll say have a wonderful day, and we'll definitely see you on the next video. So thank you.
Bye, folks. Enjoy and have fun.
Bye. Thank you.